Hey, what's happening? I wanted to check in. It's a cold, blistering night here. It's blustery, I guess. 7 degrees and falling fast. 15 to 20 mile an hour winds. Poor dog was out there earlier, and so it's been a rough night. But it's gonna get colder, so we're gonna have to deal. Good thing I got the sauna out there. I've got the cold plunge tank in the garage now. And that is tough. Let me tell you, the garage is cold. The whole thing is sterile, and it's just not like a lake. But anyway, the point of this jumping on here tonight was to kind of talk about fatigue and more so like long-term fatigue. And, like the last week I was just kind of, I think I had some kind of like, I was cleansing, right? The last week. I was just kind of weak, and I could tell I was just not in the game. I was still trying to work out and sweat things out and get in the sauna and everything. But the thing that bothers me the most, and as I sit here, I can tell you that I think it's from sitting sometimes, a lot of it is, and my anterior pelvic tilt, but my hamstrings and my glutes and my hips and stuff. But just in normal daily activity, I wonder if there's some kind of chronic inflammation going on. And so I took yesterday off and most of today off, and I did notice that by the end of the day I felt like I was just moving a little smoother and a little more with ease and less discomfort. Not like it's debilitating, but that's the reason I'm even talking about this tonight, is because I think sometimes we get in this perpetual triathlete state where it's like, oh, well, I'm not feeling it. I go do a workout, right? So then, of course, the endorphins hit and you feel better. You're like, oh, that's what I needed. I needed to loosen up. But then the next day, it's sort of like just layered on top, maybe a little bit more. And then you wonder, it's like, okay, you've done 11 Ironmans in a row. I mean, what type of impact does that have on you long term? And that's the question I'm asking a lot lately. I think this year I did, I think the way I've been doing it is kind of the way I almost have to do it, is that I can't really do training like I used to. That tremendous volume that not only wears me out physically, but mentally. It's just the thought is just too much for me sometimes. So, like, for example, this year I went into Ironman with I think a long run. It was really a run walk of about 9 miles. And I honestly felt probably like my run was, a few indigestion kind of situations away from being in the tens. Well, I used to run about a 10-minute pace. This year it was around a 12. And I think, if I hadn't spent my time dealing with gastrointestinal issues, I may have been able to get that into the tens, which I would have been perfectly happy with. But that's on a 9-mile run walk. And I felt pretty good about it. But the thing of it is like, it's that Ironman bike, and especially Wisconsin. I usually have gotten off that bike pretty, I want to say destroyed, but certainly impacted by that course. And I know that I don't ride nearly enough probably, but this year I honestly went out there and I kind of tried to take it easy based on using power for the first time and keeping it in a range where I was like, okay, don't force it. Don't push these hills too hard. Don't do this. Don't do that. And what I think ended up happening was that it became harder for me because I was in my head, A, but B, I was just out there longer. I used to ride Wisconsin in, three or four times I rode it around 6 hours. And this year again, I was out there for 7 hours. And then of course last year I had that flat, which made it about a 7-hour deal too, with 45 minutes on the side of the road. So and the year before was the rainy year, and that was another 7-hour ride. And those, that extra hour, it's always the question, right? Is like, do you get done quicker and save something, or do you take it easier and stay out there longer? Now, I got to tell you, I'm a little bit in the camp of go get it done, because as I think about doing it again, I certainly think that I'm going to ride harder and much harder, or certainly freer than I was this year, and get done and maybe save 45 minutes on my legs, going into the run. It's just because there's, 7-hour ride to me felt every bit as hard as the 6-hour rides used to feel. So, what's the point here? Get done, sort of like, I don't know. I thought I was in pretty good bike shape. I felt pretty good going into it. And it just didn't feel right the whole day. There's something that I was like, it was really a struggle out there. So, there could have been other factors for sure. I don't necessarily think it was training or lack thereof. It could have been. I rode a lot more frequently this year. I just didn't do a ton of long rides, which I normally can't. I can't deal with them for some reason. I'll go down and ride the course. I rode the course a couple times. It's not like it's caught me off guard or anything like that. And I went down a couple of times and did hill repeats and did all kinds of stuff, and it just didn't pan out. But I guess the crux of the video is back to this state of constant fatigue or long-term fatigue. Is there some benefit? And I sent this out to my athletes today asking, do you guys feel like maybe you need a day off here or there, or a day or two off once in a while? Because, even if we never really schedule them per se, and it's always up to the athlete just to take them, and I'm not going to say anything if they take a day off. That's the deal. That's the part of the plan. But you take it when you need it. But sometimes I wonder if you see it and then you're like, well, maybe that's what I need to do, and maybe that'll make me feel better. And then you kind of just dig another layer of fatigue on it. And it's just subtle, it's not like overwhelming, but it's just sort of nagging fatigue. And I wonder how many of us are caught in that, it's such a gray area, I mentally can usually always get up for a workout if I, something happens and I, can just go, all right, let's just get on and get it going. And then you get it going and get it done. And then you feel better. And then until the next day. And then you're faced to that again, just that little bit of, so it's like adding a little bit of, just a tiny bit of more fatigue on you when you're already in the hole, you know what I mean? I don't know what this is. It's like a fatigue gap or something that, maybe we can think about. But I do think that, like it's easy to say, yeah, it's a 30-minute run. That doesn't do anything. But I wonder sometimes if you just took that, is the day off worth more than the 30-minute run? Or is the day off worth more than a 60-minute easy bike? I don't know. Movement is medicine. We got that going for us. And I think a lot of us, obviously, subscribe to that. But I just wonder, it certainly depends on age and how long you've been doing the sport. For me, like I said, it's been 11 straight years of Ironman. So it's not like I work out every day of the year. I certainly take my days off, but I just think it's interesting that some days when I do take a day or two off that my legs start feeling a little bit better. And I wonder if that is like not a good idea on occasion, just to kind of let some of the inflammation go down and then heal up. Because if they're never healed, if they're always, it's like that chronic syndrome in your gut or whatever, if you never give it a chance. That's why, I think sometimes when you have, something going on in the gut, that's why you don't eat as much, because there doesn't, it gives the body a chance to heal and the inflammation to go down. So anyway, so that's the thought for the night. I don't know if it's a good one or not, but I find it interesting because I'm always about feeling young and younger as I get older, and as a 61-year-old sitting here trying to keep this train rolling, you need all the tricks you can get. So, all right, I appreciate you listening, and let me know if you have any thoughts. All right.